All right, again, you're solving a quadratic equation. You know it's a quadratic equation because this is squared, and basically you can write it in a form of a quadratic equation, right? The quadratic equation is, in standard form, is a, which is some real number, x squared plus bx plus c equals 0. That is the quadratic equation in standard form, where a, b, and c are real numbers like 3, 1/2, or a square root of 2. Something like that. Normally you'll just have integers. It's regular, normal numbers that you're used to seeing all the time. Now, what you want to do when you solve for this is to do that first. So basically solve for 0. Now, on top of that, what I would recommend is keep this, whatever number is in front of the x squared, positive, because it will make it easier for factoring. So if you would, take some time right now, work out this problem, see if it's factorable. If it's not factorable, what you would have to use is a quadratic formula. So take some time right now to work on this problem. All right. So you might have had a little difficulty with this problem. What you want to do is you want to solve for 0 first. So you have 9x squared minus 9x minus 4 equals 0. Now you might be asking yourself, okay, I have a 4. All right, I know 4 times 1 and 2 times 2. But that doesn't give me the middle term, 9. So, even when you calculate the difference, right? The difference between 4 and 1 is 3, and then 2 and 2 is 0. So maybe there's something different here that's going on. Let's say that maybe this is factorable, and there's a possibility that it could be, right? This is a negative 4 right here, so that means one is going to be plus, and the other one's going to be minus. Now, some tricks when you're doing this is what's called trial and error method. And what that means is you keep on doing it until you get it. When you see 9x squared, you ask yourself, okay, what times what will give me 9x squared? And you always want to start, when you're doing trial and error, with the numbers that are closest together. So that is 3x times 3x, because 9x and 1x are further away from each other. So start with 3x here and 3x there. Next, notice that this is not it is not a perfect square. If it was a perfect square, this middle term would have to be even. So 2 and 2, if this was a perfect square, you would place 2 and 2 here. But it's not a perfect square. Because this is not an even number. So try 4 and 1 first. When you try 4 and 1, remember that's equal to 0. You do the middle term, and you do, to find the middle term, because that's what you did. What you did was you set it up for the first and you set it for the last. So all you need to do is check to see if it's a middle term or not. And to do that, you only need to calculate the outer, right? The outer, the smile, and the nose, the inner. And when you add those together, that's going to give you your middle term. So this is an easy way to check to see if your factoring is correct. So negative 4 times 3x is negative 12x. 3x times 1 gives me a 3x. And when you add those together, that's going to give you the negative 9x. If it turns out that your middle term, your middle number, was the number you want, all you have to do is change the signs. If the middle term is not the number you want, meaning if you end up getting something that's different from 9, then that means you have to switch the numbers. And always switch these numbers first. Keep these the same. and then you might have to change this from a 9x to a 1x. But you keep on doing it until you get it. That's basically the trial and error thingy. So, yeah, I said thingy. So that works out. So that's how you would factor it. Then what you want to do is use the zero product principle and set each of those parentheses equal to 0. So you have 3x minus 4 equals 0. And then you have 3x plus 1 equals 0. And solve for x in each of these. I have negative 4. The opposite of negative 4 is adding 4. So I'm going to add 4 to each side. So I have this cancels, so you have 3x equals 4. You divide both sides by 3 because the 3 and the x, when they're right next to each other, they're multiplying. So you just simply do the opposite. And the opposite is division of multiplication. So x equals 4/3. Here you subtract. This cancels. 3x equals a negative 1. You divide both sides by 3. You get x equals negative 1/3. And so your solution are going to be 2. It's going to be the negative 1/3, comma 4/3. And that's it. Little braces indicate that's a set. And you have the set of negative 1/3 and 4/3. That's it.